well, a little bit about myself is I currently last May graduated from New Jersey Institute of Technology, major computer engineering. Uh, in the fall, I plan on starting my master's within my same major. During my time, I had two internships, community healthcare systems. I worked first as a data engineering intern, and then next as a software engineering intern, both at the same company. I also had a few projects that I've done, both based in school. My smart home automation system, which
Mhm.
was a competition that we did, they gave us funding for, worked out very well. And my semi-autonomous agricultural cultivator, which is kind of like a how to explain an automated tractor, which was my senior project. What I'm really looking for is help with interview prep, ways to approach an actual interview when I go into it. I've had a few interviews in the past. I had one for Schneider Electric, I had one for Amazon, I had one for Con Edison. But I'm looking to basically get better at interviewing, really, or like if there's anything in my resume that isn't that doesn't make sense or like isn't
So,
maybe could be
so
improved.
yeah, yeah, no, no, I understand. So your goal is you want to make sure that by the end you finish your master's, you have a job.
Oh yes, basically, or I
That,
basically by the time I finish my master's, yes, but also even while I'm working on my master's.
like some
Like,
sort of internship or something.
oh yes, I did. Uh, Before it was canceled, I did have a position at the FAA. I planned on doing it full time while working on my master's because I'm a little bit flexible when it comes to the master's. They have classes you can take online in person as well. And since I'm in New Jersey, although the position was going to be in New Jersey, I had the option to take night classes as well as work during the day. So internships or full time opportunities both work well.
So what are you doing right now for summer?
Oh, for summer, well, right now I'm trying to hone some of my skills. I didn't take an internship, but I'm taking some certificates.
Okay.
Try
So
to get the
you're
security.
home and just taking certification and all that, nothing internship wise.
Yes,
Okay. And but you are continuing your master's. Looks like it's gonna finish by next December.
yes,
Okay. And right now you're a full-time master's student.
well, as of right now, I'm a full time master student because I don't have a job currently,
Yeah, yeah.
so
No, no, I
I
understand.
would do it
Okay.
full time. But if the job came through, I would switch to part time and then do it that way.
You have that flexibility.
Yes,
Hmm. Okay. And you are a US citizen, I'm assuming?
yes.
Okay.
But
So,
basically, I'm sorry.
no, no, go ahead. Tell me more.
Well, well, I was looking for ways to just improve my interviewing skills. If there's anything I need to improve when I'm asked a question, how to approach a question that comes toward me. I've heard of the I've heard about the STAR method. I'm trying to practice that and make sure I execute it perfectly. I'm looking for different ways to just improve my interviewing skills whenever I meet with a potential job opportunity.
You
That's
know,
pretty much
I
it.
will tell you one thing. So you are a master's student. You are primarily a bachelor's, right? Right now and all that. So,
Yes.
you know, from a from the interviewer point of view, for a bachelor's, they are looking for someone who can jump into solving problems
Mhm.
and not shy away with it.
Okay. I'm sorry.
You know, like for example, if you are a PhD student, the question would be different, the answer would be different.
Yeah.
I would tell you one of the things that I have seen, which distinguishes between a good intern versus not so good intern, or someone who get hired versus someone who is not getting hired, whether an intern or a job, is the person. And this is again very focused to someone who has a bachelor's degree, is that person who has a bachelor's, you see him or her asking questions. You see him or her talking about solving problems. You see him or her not shying away with any sort of a problem.
Yes.
You see him and her proactive. In a rudimentary way, I will give you an answer is, and my advisor used to say that there are three types of a student. You tell them to do A, B, C, and they do A. And then the second one is do exactly what is told A, B, C. And then the third one is the one where they do A, B, C, and then they figure it out D, E, F, G. Understand my point? So what
Yes,
I'm
I
saying,
understand.
yeah, so what I'm trying to tell you is be the last one, where
Okay. So be the person that goes above and beyond,
be the
essentially.
person. I mean, it's very philosophical also. I don't want to talk philosophy here, but what I'm trying to
Yes.
say is you have to be, you have to assure the person that you're interviewing that maybe I don't know everything, but if you look at my CV, if you look at what I have done, I've not shied away with the things. I'm a
Yes.
leader.
Yeah.
I take responsibility. I owe, if I make a mistake, I owe it.
Mhm.
If there is a problem given to me, I will figure it out.
Okay.
Understand my point? Because you are not an expert of things. That's why people go to do PhD or whatever, right?
Hmm.
But what
Yeah.
you are is the person, and that's what your job would be, is you will be moved around quite a lot. Do this, do that, do this, do that. So like imagine you are at a home and you say, hey, cook food, sweep the floor, make sure the doors are closed, make sure the AC is switched off when you leave home, make sure everything is, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I understand what you're saying.
So what I'm trying to say, you have to be that person and you have to be open to that sort of a thing.
Okay. So essentially, I should be the person that is able to figure things out, be able
Problem
to
solving.
problem solve.
Have this mindset of problem solving. Have this mindset of not being shying away, saying that I can't do this. I mean, and I have seen that quite a lot where someone says, hey, you give them a problem. I have never done this before. I don't think I am. I will give you an example. I have two interns right now that are working with me. One intern is from Colorado School of Boulder, and another intern is from California, Irvine, University of California.
Uh-huh. Yes. I know
And
both.
we were talking about a project, and we needed someone who had knowledge of Python, right?
Mhm.
And I asked, hey, which of you know that? And one of the guys said, yeah, I have done problems. I know Python, not that much, but I have done problems, I think, and I think I didn't get into that. And the second intern immediately said, I have no knowledge of Python, and stopped right there.
Oh,
That's what I
that
don't
makes
like. Because, what I'm trying to tell you is you may not know everything, but don't say that. Don't come up with the guy saying that. If I was that person, I would have said, first of all, it will be hard to fathom in today's world if you have a degree very closely related to computer science, you don't know Python.
yeah.
My brain doesn't comprehend that.
Yeah.
Okay. And so let's say, even if you let's say I give you a benefit of doubt, you said I don't know Python, I would say I what the way I would have done is that I have I have done programming, and Python should not be that difficult for me to learn. Give me a week. I think I would able to solve the problem.
That makes sense.
The perspective is more important.
Okay.
Make sure when you are interviewing, your perspective is about I'm the doer, I'm the go-getter, I'm the guy who can solve problems. And the second part of it is where you can back up that with your CV. So there are two kinds of person there. Two, one is, yeah, I can do everything, and they don't know shit. And
That's
then
very
other
true.
person is where you say, I can do that problem. That's step one. And the step two is, if you look at my CV, you will see the project that I worked in, I had no idea, but it took me a week to figure that out, and this is what I have done there. And then you can talk about what the statement of work was, where you come from, what new things did you learn, how quickly you get into that, with some of the issues that you tackled with. It could be technical, it could be non-technical. It could be non-technical, for example, is I was out of resources, but then I went to YouTube, watched video. You know what I mean?
No, I understand.
So
You're
this is
saying that.
what you that's this is what you are looking what a person is looking for, because I can tell you, learning technical is you can anybody will do that. It's not that difficult. It's about the attitude. So make sure your the first thing I would tell anyone is make sure your attitude is right there, right? So and rest other things are you can speak well, this, that, all that is fine. I mean, you are born here. So
Yeah.
I was not born here, so my English was bad. I'm pretty sure you are much better than me. So it's not the it's that's not the issue at all.
Yeah, I was born here, but I my parents, I'm Nigerian.
Yeah, yeah,
Came
no,
from
no,
Nigeria pretty
I know,
much
but what I'm
back to
saying is
2005.
once you go to school here,
Hmm.
it's very different for someone like me who has done his undergrad in India.
Okay. Okay. So you did your undergrad here and then you came here for
No, I did my undergrad in India and then I came here, did my master's and PhD.
oh wow. Well, what did you do your master's and PhD in? If you
So I
mind
did
me
my
asking.
master's at University of Arizona and my PhD at University of Maryland.
Arizona and Maryland? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, what was your major
So
or
my
what did you
undergrad
focus
was in mining engineering.
on? Engineering?
My master's was in civil engineering. My PhD was
Yes.
in mechanical engineering.
Mechanical engineering. I saw the mechanical engineering. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I
But
see.
as I said, if you look, I'm pretty sure you have read that book. I talked about degrees.
Yes.
Degrees are useless.
Yes, I was going to talk about. I remember you talked about the five C's in the book,
Yeah.
and then asking why, saying that degrees like without return on investment are basically useless. I was going to talk about that. I currently have I go to this church. It's not far from where I live, but I have this student. He's going to Rutgers University starting in the fall. I'm going to give him the book too, so he can understand and read it. I know
No,
he wants to go down
that
the
would be
same
good.
path.
Yeah, yeah. As I said to you, I wrote that book by purposely for someone who was going to who for 18 plus because that's where they need some sort of a guidance. And I felt at the time when I started writing that book is I think I should do it because initially I wanted to write it for my daughter, and then I said,
Yes,
it should be for everyone, and I started getting a lot of feedback from people saying that they really enjoyed reading the book.
yes.
Especially I have this is my fifth year I am doing career counseling.
Okay.
I've been doing this
So,
for
so you've been
long.
doing this since 2020.
Yeah, since COVID, I'm doing it, and I have so much data in my brain. I can tell you, talking to a student,
Yes.
then because I've been talking to so many, I think I have spoken to close to 600, 700 students,
Wow.
international, US, India, Pakistan, China, France, you name Africa, like people from
Yes.
Kenya, like studying in Kenya, and things
Yes.
like that, Nigeria.
Hmm.
And there are some countries, and Nigeria is one of the one where you find the kids are really, really smart, good, speak English, and somehow they want to do better. Very few
Yes.
countries are like that. Yeah.
Yes.
So, you can be a role model too for them, in that sense.
Yes.
And you should, why
Okay.
not? Be a
Uh,
role model for them, motivate them, guide them, and things like that. So, that will be your legacy in that sense.
Yes. That's actually very good. Thank you. One thing I was going to ask you. So you spoke to many students. What would you say is a common thing that you've seen in many of the students that you spoke with, and something that you suggested that basically applied to a wide range of students that you saw, something that maybe they should do differently, or something. I know you talked to me about problem solving and attitude. But thank you very much. But what is something you would say to that you've said to those wide range of students?
As I said to you, when I do career counseling, I don't want to be philosophical. I want to give you very, very answer which is very, very which solve the problem. Like your problem
Yes.
right now is how can I get a job? I want to get into that. And I said, okay, if you do these two things, because we are an engineer, we talk in terms of probability. This is not a church where things
Yeah.
are subjective. I want to
Mhm.
give you If you do that, your probability of getting interview becomes higher because there is no one and zero, right? We can talk about probability. So in that sense, because since this question is very philosophical in that sense too, the ultimate goal that you're looking for is finding your passion.
Okay. Understanding
Okay,
finding
let
passion.
me correct it. Finding your passion and get paid for that.
Yeah, I understand.
That's more important. So
Yes.
let's say your passion is I want to cook food.
Mhm.
Question that you should ask then, can I get paid for that? Because if that answer is no, I don't think that's the point.
Yeah.
So there are
So
four
some
questions that you should ask, and I have mentioned that in your book. Um,
Mhm.
and let me look at your CV 1 second because I need to. Yeah, yeah. Okay, your CV is there. So what I'm looking at your CV. So what I want to ask you when I look at your CV, these four questions, because you asked this question, which is much bigger than finding a job.
Yes.
Four questions that you should ask: what you love,
Okay.
what you are good at, what can you get paid for, and what the world needs. So if you write these four questions, what you love, what you are good at, what you can get paid for, and what the world needs, just write it down. Okay? And
I'm writing it down currently.
okay, so if you look at all those four questions, remember I talked about passion. The
Yeah.
passion is about what you love and what you are good at.
Mm.
That's your passion. What are you good at and what you can get paid for becomes your profession.
Okay.
What you love and what the world needs become your mission. That's your mission. And what you can get paid for and what the world needs becomes the vocation. And the intersection of all those four. So if you are able to find and keep asking that question, if you are able to find just one thing that answers all those four questions, that's what you should be ultimately doing, that you will be good and you will be best, you will never get bored, you will love it throughout life, you will become a CEO, you will whatever. That's the
Thank you.
journey that you should think of for longer term. But for a shorter term, when, because your question was, hey, can I get an internship? Look at what you love, what you are good at.
Okay. I,
Because you're already talking about looking for a job, so they will pay you. So that's not the point. So point here is what you are good at, what you are loving. If you focus on these two questions for now, you should and just go there, you should be fine.
may have a little bit of an answer.
Yeah.
If you like to hear. So when I was in, so it's a little bit of a story, but when I was in seventh grade, I live in New Jersey. My town is Florence. That's
Uh-huh.
where I used to go to middle school. In seventh grade, we had a competition in school where we would have to write a paper basically talking about STEM, what we liked about it, technology. It was about a two-page paper they wanted, and the top 20 students got to go to Lockheed Martin, which was in Morristown, New Jersey. They have a base in Morristown, New
Yeah, yeah, I
Jersey.
know, I know. I have people
I
not.
was I won that competition. I got to go to Lockheed Martin as a kid.
Mhm.
As a kid, I was speaking to the engineers. They were telling me about what they did during the job, how they've got to work on. Well, they didn't really want to talk about exactly what they were working on, but they were discreet. They mentioned that how they loved their work, the different technologies that they were using at the time, how even that one of the engineers was telling me how he went to Florida, he went to a base in Hawaii to work on it. That was the things that got me interested in engineering per se. When I was about a senior in high school, or sorry, sophomore in high school is when I really started. I was taking programming classes. So I started first with Python. They had us using that. It was basic level stuff. Um, we were really just even using like code blocks to try to understand how things worked. Uh, I enjoyed it. I liked it. I got better and better at it. So I decided to go down computer engineering when I went to college. In college, one summer, not my freshman year summer, I was able to go back to Nigeria and I got to see the area and the landscape. I went to the village, so I went to the real place of Nigeria, and I was able to see how things are very different over there compared to the way they are in America. There's people who don't have access to a lot of electricity, lights, computers, even, and there's people who don't even have access to schools. At the time, I felt that it motivated me. So to more finish my degree and do the things I'm doing. One of my goals in life is to help those people in Nigeria, to start something in Nigeria that will help folks over there to improve their way of living. I know that now that part of Africa now starting to have a very high return on investment as well, as the country keeps getting better and improving. So it also led me to then get my master's in computer engineering before I was going to get an MBA. But the one thing I liked about your book was when you were talking about education and you were talking about return on investment. I thought about it I was thinking about it earlier, but I thought about it a little bit more for a while. Was it beneficial for me to get an MBA, or was it more beneficial for me to get something more technical, something where I could improve and learn more skills that can later on help me if I decide to go down the route of helping those kids in Nigeria or that part of the world. Uh, so I feel like that
Uh,
is true.
yeah, no, I understand your point. I will tell
Mhm.
you, every degree or profession has a value.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
I-
I did my
mhm.
MBA. All my degrees are paid.
Okay.
I did not
Wait.
pay. I did not paid a single dime for any of my degrees.
Oh, okay.
When I say anyone, anyone, undergrad, master's, PhD, MBA included.
It's nice.
So my point here is there are two ways you can get that sort of an education that an MBA does is either you work for a company
Mhm.
and you move around to different things. You're gonna work for supply chain, you're gonna work on strategy, you're gonna work on marketing, this and that. That's one way to do it. Other way, you go to school and you learn. My
Okay.
only thing is that I wish, so here's the thing. If I was you, I would do probably a master's in system engineering management
System engineering management.
or
Why
because that degree is like think of MBA for engineers.
okay. They have a degree called engineering management. Yes.
So if you
At
look at the course curriculum or all that, it's like more MBA for engineers. So what I'm saying is like say you have a bachelor's in computers already,
Mhm.
I can bet you masters won't do shit.
Yeah. Okay.
So my advice is why didn't somebody do system engineering management or system engine? So two things, either system engineering or do engineering management. Because those degrees are designed for someone, one system engineering, for example, is awesome degree. I wish I could have done it. Or probably
Mhm.
I'm going to do a certification on that. Because one thing I realized is in today's world, if you go and work for a company, you're gonna see you're working on a system. Let's say what is a system? So let's say for example, you go and work for an Apple.
Yes.
Imagine that phone is a piece of engineering system marvel, which has electronics, electrical, mechanical, materials, sensors, relays, cameras, optics. Do you understand how many engineers are there?
Yes. Yeah. So there's a bunch of different disciplines that go into one.
It's a system engineering.
Yes. Okay.
So the people who have the knowledge of system engineering, I think, are the one who it's like a god sitting on the top of everything and looking if everything is syncing well, basically. And you have system engineers and system chief system engineers and chief engineers who are basically system engineers in every company. Because, let's say Apple is hiring these, hey, we were looking for someone who has a degree in mechanical engineering, come. We're looking for someone who has a degree in optics, come. We have a degree of someone who has a degree in computers, come. We have a degree of someone who is material science, come. You think one person can design a iPhone? They all together cannot design too because they don't understand the language. Because I have a degree in mechanical materials. I really, if you and I gonna sit together and think about making something awesome, first of all, we need to communicate what the hell, what language we should talk.
Yeah.
Because if I'm gonna tell you something about material, you're gonna say, I don't get it, and same for me. So the system engineering degree does that justice. It bridges everything. So the guy who's a system engineer, he can see the big picture. And he said, hey, materials, do this, electrical guy. So for example, he's going to tell a materials guy, hey, I want you to design a material which can conduct electricity. And he's going to tell an electrical engineering guy, hey, I want to make sure the voltage is not enough high so the materials get heated. You understand my point here?
No, I definitely understand.
That's
I
how that's how you design the system.
yes.
And the engineering management degree is, in my opinion, is blatantly like MBA for engineers in a like a close pack. It's not just engineering for management for everyone.
Hmm.
And I think that degree is good too. So as I said to you, a core degree and some one of these two degrees go way beyond, in my opinion, any other education or any other
I'll
degree.
look we'll look into it. I remember I was looking into it. Um, at one point I thought it would have been easier to use an MBA because it was more general and
No, I
more
mean you
broad.
can. I'm not saying you can't do an MBA, but my point here is, if I was you and if I am determined to do an MBA,
Yes.
right? I will ask that question to myself, and you very well say that this is what I wanted to, and that is totally fine because people do that. So, for example, if there is an engineer who has a degree in electrical engineering, if he does an MBA and become a marketing guy, and then you go back and what the fuck I did for 4 years? The reason I did an MBA because I wanted to understand the language of management so that I can make
Mhm.
a better decision as an engineer. I never wanted to go and become a finance guru. That was not me.
Yes.
But if you wanted to do that, that's fine because there is a lot of money there.
Mhm.
But
No, I
that's
understand.
what you need to ask that question to yourself. And that's the reason I asked, if you are an engineer, probably a degree on engineering management would serve you better.
Yes. Okay, I understand. All right, thank you. I don't think anyone's ever told it to me like that when I was thinking about it.
Yeah, no,
Thank you very
I,
much.
I do this professionally, so I know what I'm talking about. You understand my point here. So I want to bring some level of clarity for it to you in that framework.
Yes. No,
So,
that definitely
so
helps.
because see, in today's world where you have AI and this and that, I will give you an example. I don't know shit about computers. I don't like programming. I'm a hardcore guy who works in the lab, and that's what I did.
Yeah.
If you tell me, hey, Amit, can you do a programming or write a C code? I'm out. But since the large language models have come, I can do programming too.
Yes.
So the other question that I tell everyone, and I think I wrote in that book too, you don't want to be indispensable in that sense. That there's a
Mhm.
chapter I wrote as a subtitle says that AI won't replace human, but it will replace someone who does not know AI.
Yeah.
So for me right now, AI becomes my personal assistance that
Mhm.
is giving me so much breadth that I was unable to cover previously. And if that is the case, then I don't need Kingsley.
Yes.
And if I don't need you, what the heck you did for 4 years then? And if you look at now what's going on, look at news yesterday, Microsoft, laying off 9,000, 10,000 people. You heard there's all those news. So keep that in mind that you don't want to be indispensable because Lord, oh Lord, the world. and the job market and the technology is changing so fast that
Yeah.
the professors has no fucking clue what they're teaching because they are not they did not go this for a school, so they know how to teach that.
Yes. That's
And
very
the
true.
students who are getting all those conventional information and knowledge and education, it's garbage.
Mhm. That's very true.
At least the mindset. Again, I'm talking about the mindset. The idea
Yeah.
was I'm going to go to school, get a job. I don't think those days are there,
Yeah. I understand.
right? So keep that in your mind, and do the right thing. That's all. I mean, and again, last thing that I say to everyone, and this is a very blunt thing that I tell whenever I talk to someone. I said, there is a reason why you and I are talking because we both are average people.
Hmm.
If you were Steve Jobs or Elon Musk, you are not listening to me. My point here was by saying that is you can be an outlier, and if you are, then nothing can stop you.
Yeah.
All that stock is bullshit. But if you are one of those average people, if you look at normal distribution, and this is where you lie, most of the people, and not outliers, like not like dumb ass or not Elon Musk crazy, then
Hmm.
these are the framework that we should be living in.
Yes.
But that's where
I,
most of the crowd is. So, and you want to make sure that you stand out because everyone is average. Everyone. And with a new advent of AI and all that, that shift in average has more towards right than towards left.
yes.
And that is going to create so much challenges, problems, opportunities, and that you can think of. Like I think I wrote in that book that guy like me who never wrote a single page can write a novel now. If it was not up to AI, I would not written a shit because that AI became my proofreader, that AI became my editor, that AI became everything that I think of. Look, I have
Makes sense.
ideas in my brain. I'm smart enough to do that,
Uh-huh.
and I can write. But if you see my initial writing, what I wrote, you will be like, what the fuck is this?
When you were writing, you made sure that you were editing it and spell checking and everything
Yeah,
was done.
I mean, and I'm
Very
not,
smart.
I'm not ashamed of that because if you look at all
No.
those people who hire ghostwriters, I did not hire ghostwriters. I use
Yes.
AI as an assistant. That became my ghostwriter,
Yes. I understand. Very
right? So
smart.
there is not. So what I'm saying is, imagine now a guy who went to college, did an English literature degree, and is writing a novel, is competing with me. I'm like, holy shit. I mean, imagine, and that's why I
No,
said
yeah.
all those things in that book, saying that you go to college, you go to Harvard and pay $100,000 per year for an English literature degree, and you get nothing out of it.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
make sure what degree
Waste
you are
of time.
doing, it has a value. I mean,
Yes.
these things are so important to talk, and that's the reason I wanted to mention all these important things in the book because these are hard truth. And
Yes.
better you should know that. Otherwise, you know, I will tell you, when I started writing that book, there was no chat GPT.
Yeah.
That was true.
So
Because this was
okay, so
pre-COVID.
what were you thinking of? What was going through your mind at that time when you were writing? Was there a lot of throwing away pages
Yeah,
and
I mean, as I said, if you
tapping
look
out
at my,
words?
yeah, yeah, I wanted to write something for my daughter. I said, I don't know, this thought came to my mind as if I die, what my daughter is gonna, who is a 10-year-old, what is gonna remember me as a dad?
Yes.
Like what my belief
Wow.
in my parent is, who was my dad and all that is. I want to write a note for her. So he remembers what her dad remembered, what her dad beliefs were, and things like that. And
That's
then I
actually very
wanted to write a small diary for her so that it will be prepared if she graduates and all that thing.
no, yes.
But so I started writing, and I think I wrote one article on LinkedIn where I said, um, we have 4 minutes left, where I said, if you look at how many pages I wrote per day based on the day I started writing, but they published, I wrote 3 lines per day. That
Lines per
was the
day.
average. And basically, what I did is I wrote for 6 months and I did not write anything for another 6 months. Because writing is also your mindset is not there. Because one thing you also figure it out, this was a emotional writing too, and it has to be there. It has to come where I'm in that mindset.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
sometimes you're not, sometimes you are, and all that. But the idea was one thing I wanted to make sure is I'm not gonna shy away of not speaking truth based on what it is, and a lot of my failures are there, a lot of my successes are there. Right now, if anybody I talk to, they say, "Hey, Amit, you're so successful, you're working there." They don't know what the hell, what the failures I have seen. And that's I think that's, in my personal opinion, that's most of the people's story is. The biggest problem I feel, I will tell you, Kingsley, is in this world,
Yes.
and I hope the mindset would change, and it, because it will help a lot. People talk about success, they don't talk about their failures,
Yes.
and that was misguided a lot of people. Whether they are basketball players, whether are this and that, people see success. People don't see the failures, because if the failures are highlighted more than success, then people who are following them or who are thinking about becoming them, they will go back 2 steps and say, "Whoa,
I mean, you can reevaluate.
let me reevaluate. Do I really want to do this? Because this guy went to the hell."
Hmm. I do a lot. It's
Yeah,
very true. I understand that.
yeah.
I understand
What else?
that. Um, so I was gonna ask, all right, at time talking, what would you say about me, just me as a person? I know impression is of course
No,
number one
as I
thing.
said, I think you're fine. I mean, you taking the time, even reading that book, even reaching
Yes,
out and say, "I want to talk." I think that is one thing that nobody does. Trust me.
sure.
Talk to people.
Yes, talk to
Just like you're
people.
talking me, talk to people. You will find out, if you reach out to people, you will find out there are people who share so many stories. And one thing I will tell you for sure, and I do that, I talk to a lot of people, I talk to people who are successful. I listen to them just like you are listening to me, but I make my mind. I don't believe in anything.
Yes,
And you should do the same. You
your mind.
listen to everyone and believe what you think is the right thing to do, because at the end of the day, it is your life, it is your
Yes,
decision, and you should own
yes,
it. And even if you fail and you get a success, that success would give you so much of, I would say, courage, that you then will not shy away with anything. But definitely have find someone who can be your mentor, who can guide you through your steps. I have mentors that helps me.
hmm,
Mentors are something, if you read the book I talked about, having a mentor is important, because
yes,
these are the people whom you can trust.
yes,
And
yes.
having a mentor is very important thing, just like family doctor. It's like your career doctor, basically.
Mhm.
It
Okay.
can help, it can make and break your career. So, and like I said, mentor can be a generator too, because the wisdom is more important.
Sorry, say it one more time.
A mentor can be a janitor too,
Agenda. Okay. The wisdom
because
you
the
said.
wisdom is more important.
Yes.
Because
The
sometimes you
wisdom.
will realize the people who are successful, they are more phony than a simple guy.
Yes.
That's what you want.
It's very true.
It's
That's
not
very
about
true.
oh hey, I want the guy who's a vice president of ABC company is my mentor. No, it can be a guy who is like living next to your door, old guy, or I don't know, anyone, maybe
Yes.
a high school football coach. Sometimes these people are awesome.
Yes.
So
That gives you a lot of insight. I understand.
I think, Kingsley, we are running out of time, but it was a pleasure talking to you.
Oh, yes.
I
Thank you
hope
very
I
much.
hope
I appreciate it.
this conversation is helpful.
Yes, it is. I'll make sure to stay in touch, update. But thank you very much. This is
Yeah,
very helpful, actually. It had me a lot to think about. Thank
yeah.
you.
I hope you're not